Hi, I'm Erik Singer.
Erik is a dialect coach and guy who really loves linguistics.
Today we're going to talk about constructed languages. Conlangs are languages that have been made up by a person rather than being a naturally occurring language that's evolved over time. So do you hear that ch sound? This is a really popular sound in conlangs. It's pretty familiar from Scottish, like Loch Ness. L'chaim as well. It's in Valyrian. You can hear it.
Conlang 3, High Valyrian, Game of Thrones.
Thoros says krikota, and that first sound made at the very back of the mouth. It's called a uvular plosive. That's a sound that's all over natural languages, although not really in any European or Western languages. Here's that same sound in Klingon. Of course, this is a big world. The characters who speak High Valyrian come from all different places and they speak different dialects. In High Valyrian proper, there's a vowel sound U, which you can hear in this clip right here. Lus. That's the same sound you hear in French. Tu. It's basically an E sound with the lips rounding forwards. E. So now you can make the difference in French between tu and tu. Sometimes Melisandre pronounces the sound that's supposed to be that as an E sound, which most of the actors on the show do most of the time. But of course they all speak different dialects. In ancient proper High Valyrian, it was always U, though.
My friends here don't speak High Valyrian.
High Valyrian is a little bit like Estonian, Russian, Swahili, and kind of like Latin, because it's this ancient language in this world.
Conlang 4, Dothraki, Game of Thrones.
In that line, what's he saying? Something like, I will give to him a golden crown that men will tremble when they see it. You hear that's that uvular plosive, which means will tremble. It's the future tense of qovat, which is to tremble. Some people think Dothraki sounds like Arabic. Its natural language influences are more from Turkish, Russian, Swahili, and Inuktitut.
Here's Johnny!
American English has a really weird R sound, this thing that you do when you bunch up your tongue.
Alrighty then.
This is a really weird sound. It barely exists in any other language on Earth, and it's a weird thing to do with your tongue, so it's often really hard both for kids to acquire.
Serious.
It takes until about 5.
Serious.
It's hard for non-native speakers, so it gets left out of conlangs because it also just kind of sounds like American English.
Let's get ready to rumble!
One really popular approach is to have a tapped R, like in an old-fashioned British.
Now is the winter of our discontent, glorious summer, Betty.
Here you can hear it in High Valyrian, Dothraki, Klingon. Interestingly, Valyrian has the same contrast Spanish does. Two different R sounds which can change the meaning of a word. One is a tap, r,
and pero,
the other is a trill,
or rolled R in perro.
Different word, only one different sound. Dothraki has sometimes a tap, sometimes a trill. It doesn't actually make a difference in the meaning of the word. Here it's a trill.
I used linguistic evolution as a characterization tool, basically giving insight into the history of the speakers.
So Khal Drogo is a native speaker of Dothraki, and it sure seems like he is, even though it's a made-up language. Daenerys is learning it. And here in the first season, you can kind of hear she's not a native speaker. Later on, though, and this makes sense for the character, right? This isn't the actress getting better at it. It's them telling the story of the character becoming more of a fluent speaker of Dothraki. Listen to it here. The brilliant Jan Hayden Rowles, who's a friend and colleague, is the dialect coach for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's me.
So she does all the Dothraki and Valyrian.
That's right.
And the actors do a really good job.
Oh, they sure do.
Jason Momoa as Dothraki sounds great, doesn't it? I mean, you completely buy him as a native speaker, and that's a credit to the actor.
Very nice of you.
Who doesn't actually speak any other languages besides English, and I suppose now some Dothraki. Dothraki, though, is much more fully developed in terms of vocabulary.
You throat rip.